Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is still the breakfast show on BRTV, the home of talk and entertainment. As you can see, we have our guest here in the studio, Prince Abiathar. He's a creative director of African Theatre Development Foundation. He's also a public relations professional, a playwright, a poet, and he's also passionate about the arts.
Yes.
You're welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I love your outfit.
Thank you very much.
Looking good.
Yeah, thank you, Toby.
Welcome to the show. So you are the founder and creative director of African Theatre Development Foundation.
That's right.
Okay, now how has the era of the technology helped the development of the world of arts and theatre?
Well, to start with, let me thank you for having me on your sets.
Okay, you're welcome,
It's
sir.
my first time of coming to your beautiful studio. Now, yes, talking about technological involvement and its impacts on the theatre, it doesn't take so much to see that productions have been made a lot more easier than it was before.
Okay.
And right now you have people making movies on their smartphones, and you have virtual studios running from everywhere. So the cost of production equally has been so much crashed that you don't need expensive equipment, you know, to communicate your ideas and get creative.
Yeah.
So yes, technology has so much bridged the gap between idea formation and translating them into reality.
Yeah. Now, did you hear what he said? You don't need money to bring in your ideas, to bring in your creativity. Little, just a little can really do that magic for you. So don't really limit yourself again if you've been doing that.
That's right.
Thank you, sir, so very much for that input. So the next question will be, how do you mentor younger generations in the world of arts while also helping them sweat the mindset of getting rich quick?
Well, that's a very good question, and it is in the center of what we do.
Yeah.
Permit me to tell you that African Theatre Development Foundation came to be as a child of necessity because we saw the fact that we are losing touch with our cultures and our languages.
Okay.
And we discovered that in no too distant future, we will no longer have our languages, nor will our children know what our cultures are like. So it became a child of necessity where we thought it wise to use theater as a platform for engagement, for educating and nurturing the younger generation in sparking their interest in culture and their heritage. So having said that, annually we host the Children's Summer Theatre, which we have been doing for the past 5 years in partnership with NTA. We do it at the NTA Arena. And except for this year's on, which we did at the Women Development Center, because of our experience with rains at the arena, which sometimes disrupts our proceedings. So yes, we bring children together, we teach them playwriting, we teach them acting, we teach them African drums and dance.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, and when they write their scripts, they act them by themselves, they produce them. And so they get interested. They do African proverbs as well. They get assignments that they cannot do alone without the input of their parents. So this thing creates a nexus between the child and his parents, because the parents will have to teach them some of these proverbs that comes from their places, and that sparks the interest of a child in the language. Apart from that, we follow up these children because the summer period is just 3 months out, a few months out of the year. So we see that we follow them constantly to see that they keep the interest that has been sparked up at the summer theater.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. I'm happy about what you are doing because most of the times you see that the children are really losing their heritage. They're really losing their language. You see, you bring a child, where are you coming from? The child cannot really speak the language. They'll speak in borrowed languages. So when the children are being nurtured, know their culture, know where they're coming from, know their heritage, I think is an applause to you for on your organization for what you all are doing. So what would you consider as your highs and lows having been in this field for a while?
Well, let's talk about the lows first.
Okay.
And for me, as it is, I am so disheartened from our interactions with the public in the past years that African theater has existed. We have a flagship program which we call the Save Africa Project. Now, the Save Africa Project is a platform where we host different ethnic nationalities.
Okay.
And when we host these different ethnic nationalities, we talk about their heritage, their food, their culture, their drinks, everything about their heritage. And of course, they come in and we interact at random with people that are from age of 35 downwards. And when you take somebody that is within the age frame of 35 downwards and you see that that person cannot speak his language. That person does not know anything about his culture.
Yeah.
And when you add 15 to 35, that gives you 50. In the next 15 years, this person is going to be an elder in his community. If he doesn't know anything about his culture, his heritage, that tells you that the culture, the heritage is gone. So this is a very dear situation, and this is the reality of what we are living with. Borrowed cultures, borrowed ideas have become our mainstay.
That's true.
Children don't even know their local cuisines, and to them they see it as derogatory.
Exactly.
That's true.
When you try to encourage them or make them speak in their languages, a lot of parents are not doing enough to bring their children to understand these cultures and rich African heritage that we have. So that is part of my low. My high points is when I interact with young minds and I see them bubbling with enthusiasm. And they were like, well, the last summer theater we had, there was this young, bright chap that came in, and he was so angry that his father doesn't speak his language to him, you know, and because we had scholarship for people who could speak their language.
Oh, that's amazing.
You know, that's an incentive for the next attendance, for the next summer theater. And this boy was so angry because his father does not speak his language. Now, this kind of interest that we see sparked up in children gives me a lot of encouragement. And the father was like, do you know what happened to me last night? When Ebube came up to me and he was like, Father, you have to teach me my language. He said, when a 7-year-old talks to you like that, you know that there's fire on the mountain.
The desire was strong.
Exactly. So these are kind of things that really, really makes me feel good. When children get infected, you know, with the idea, the need to know their roots.
That's amazing. Yes, sir. Before I ask you the next question, I want to say, okay, because I see you're doing something really great in order to promote our culture. So how do people join the children? Do they need to sign up, or they can just walk to your theater and then be a part of what you're doing?
Well, basically, as it is, the school calendar has made it so difficult for us to bring children together for such a period to have an impactful engagement, except during summer times. Now, the COVID situation too has made our monthly meetings restricted. We normally have monthly meetings where they continue to interact with the things they have learned at the summer theater.
Yeah.
And that, for now,
Okay.
has been on hold.
Okay.
Yes, so we do meet online.
Okay.
That is the only thing we do, but physical meeting for now, we don't do.
That's still amazing. I asked because maybe there might be viewers or some parents that may be listening, and maybe they may want to be a part of this great thing that you're doing. They've been wondering maybe how can they join or how can they be a part of it. So you can still be a part of it online. So the next question is, what are the roles of theater and art in telling our Nigerian story? I know you've already said that, so maybe you can elaborate more, maybe give us more insights.
Well, basically, there are so much you can take from that question, and depending on what area you are looking at. If you're talking about economy, you have seen what the Bollywood industry has done to India's economy. So also has the Chinese films industry boosts Chinese economy. And the same thing, yes, Nollywood, Kannywood are doing the same thing in Nigeria. And that is an area where the government need to understand that the theater is an instrument for export creation.
Yeah.
Now, as it were, what made America what it is today is largely the product of Hollywood.
True.
Hollywood creates the kind of stories that makes America looks a dream home for
That's
everybody.
true.
And you will drive, you will run to every extent to get to America. When you get to America, you discover that it's not what you see in films. It's make-believe.
Wow.
And so, but what we have here, we have the Western world's crafted stories about us, our continent, and our race in negative shades.
That's true.
Except we stand up to counter those negative narratives by our own reality and our own stories in our own voices. It will never change. But by the time we do that, you know, I remember I was in transit one day, and somebody met me and he was like, wow, you're from Nigeria? I said, yes. And the person was asking me, he said, come on, I've been wondering, the Igwe and the president, which one is more powerful? You know? Now, this is somebody that has been watching Nollywood films.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Because you
So-
know the Igwes are portrayed to be very powerful.
Exactly.
You know? So the point is that our own story lines create a mindset.
That's true.
And what mindset are the storylines we're creating? The world has told negative stories about us. The Western media, the Western press
True.
has painted us in dark lights for so long. It's time we paint our own stories on our own canvas.
Exactly.
It's time we use our voices to sing our own songs and tell the world who we are.
Yes. It's time to use our own voices to sing the song and tell the world exactly whom we are. And that also is what Chimamanda Adichie is doing. She's portraying our heritage and making sure that we don't really lose track of our heritage. Okay, thank you very much, Prince Abiathar Zadok. How do you use your work to reflect African culture? At least looking at you now, you're culturally dressed. Okay, and what are the roles of theater and art in the telling our Nigerian story?
Well, as it is, everything I do is my culture.
Yeah.
Everything I do. You cannot take a man out of his culture, nor the culture out of a man. Okay? Now, as we are seated here, we all have different stories.
That's true.
We all have different perspectives of culture.
True.
The stories your grandmother will tell you are obviously different from the stories my grandmother told me.
Exactly.
And so are they from the stories her grandmother told her.
That's true.
So if I tell my story, you tell your stories, she tells her stories. These are all different stories that are creating beautiful pictures out of Africa.
Yeah.
These are our unique heritages. By the time your voice is silenced, and her voice is silenced, and my voice is silenced, these stories are gone.
So we don't need to be silent.
Exactly.
We need to speak out.
Exactly. So your culture is the totality of yourself. The way you live, the way you
Amazing
dress,
point.
the things you say.
Yeah.
The way you dress, do you always dress like this, sir? Talking about the way you dress, do you always dress like that on daily, or do you have a special occasion when you dress like that?
Well, the way I dress is basically a reflection of my personality.
Okay.
And if the person that wears this blanket
Okay.
is an African, then everything I do evolves around
An African.
an African.
That is, once I see you, I don't need to start thinking, where is he from? I'll exactly know, oh, he's from Africa.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, well, once I'm dressed, I am carrying, and once I step out, I am carrying the total package of my person.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, that includes both the seen and the unseen.
Wow.
My character, my communications with you, okay? I should be hospitable.
Yeah.
I should be polite.
Okay.
Okay, that is the hallmark of an African. We are known to be hospitable.
Yeah.
Okay? We are known to be helpful. We are known to be loving. These are things that we should portray. Not only in our dressing, but also in our courage.
That's true. That's
Exactly.
amazing.
We don't need to lose our heritage. Most parents, when their children speak their dialect or their language, you tell them to stop. No, what are you doing? Speak English and all that. English is a borrowed language. It's good, yes, but they need to know where they are coming from. They need to interact, to communicate with their dialect, with their language, so that wherever they find themselves, they will not be missing out. I went to the market yesterday. Seriously, I sold because I saw a man, he spoke my language, not just Igbo, he spoke my language. I understood I replied
Your
immediately.
exact dialect.
Yes.
Exact dialect. I replied immediately. He was like, what are you doing here? Where are you from? Which part of, the communication
Yeah,
started immediately.
the energy,
He
the
started
vibes.
calling people to come and see my sister. We don't know from Adams. But that communication, that language, that dialect
true.
he heard attracted the both of us. So wherever you find yourself, communication matters a lot.
Yeah.
We are in a new era. You don't know where you will find yourself tomorrow.
true.
And language is very powerful. So don't restrict your children to stop speaking your language when they do so. I saw a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I spoke Igbo to the girl. The girl was like, please don't speak Igbo. My boyfriend will be angry. Yes, he shouts at me whenever I speak Igbo. I was like, what's that? You don't need to do that. English is a borrowed language.
Exactly. Toby.
Yes.
Now, let me also emphasize the point point you made. Now, like I said, during one of the Save Africa Project programs we held, there's this couple that was in the crowd, and we just picked up their child randomly, and we asked the child, "Do you speak your language?" And the child doesn't. Incidentally, the father and the mother were from the same place.
Oh,
Wow.
I can imagine.
And the child was asked, why don't you speak your language? And she said, my parents don't speak it. The only time they speak it is when they fight. So to the child, it has become a language of violence.
Yeah, that's true.
The child will not
And
want
he
to
said
learn.
that publicly.
And the parents were there.
Wow.
The parents were there. The only time they speak their native language to the children, that shouldn't be the case.
It shouldn't be. I think parents really need to, make it a habit of teaching their children their local dialects. Some of these children, maybe they didn't grow up in Nigeria, but you can still teach your children their languages even outside the country.
Excuse me.
How would they relate with people?
Yes, that is not an excuse at all. I met a gentleman
Okay.
at Turkey. In fact, we were all at the airport.
Okay.
And he was coming in from UK. And he had a stopover at Turkey. We all met there. And his children were speaking Hausa.
Yeah.
And I was like, you able to teach them Hausa? I know. He said, of course. The only time they speak English is when they go to school. And they have never been to Nigeria.
Wow.
I'm telling you, these are kids that were born and brought up abroad. But because their father made it a priority
Yes,
That's
a point
true.
out teaching.
that they don't lose their heritage.
That's true.
They were at the airport, they were speaking Hausa fluently, and they have never been to Nigeria.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yes, my wife and myself are not from the same ethnic extraction.
True.
But our children speak both languages
Wow,
very well.
that's good.
So people really need to make it a habit to learn about their heritage, learn about your culture. Do not be afraid to express your culture. Speak your language. Don't be ashamed of it. It is what you have, and also
Exactly.
the power is in our hands to reflect what people would want to see and know about us. And like you said, dress how you want to be seen, or how you want to reflect. Just how you want to express yourself. So right about now, we'll actually be closing on the show because we don't have enough time.
Yeah.
We hope that you learned a lot about culture, heritage, and creativity. So
Yes.
do you have anything to say?
Yes, what you have is what you hold. No matter where you find yourself, be it in and outside the country, you need to know your heritage. Don't lose it at all. Up next will be sports updates with Create, and after which Strict Talk comes in with AY, and we have our 12 o'clock news. Stay with us on BRTV, the home of talk and entertainment. And don't forget, COVID-19, it's real. Make sure you take all the precautionary measures and avoid close contacts with people. My name is Toby Katswe.
I'm at Teeny Fidelis, but right before we go, let's thank our guests for joining
Exactly.
us. Thank you so much, Prince Abiathar, for joining us.
Thanks for
We
having
had a
me.
really, really nice time with you on the show.
Thank you.
And we
Thank you
hope
very much.
you will come again.
I'll be looking forward to that.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you, sir. So it's bye for now on the show. My name is Teeny Fidelis once again, and bye.
Bye.
BRTV, yeah, check, BRTV, pip the vision, see right through it. Entertainment's like fluid, any direction that you pointing, you just gotta let it flow. BRTV here to find you like Merlin finding Nemo. We steady drip like licking pipes, go against the normal type, defy odds, y'all. Stead the cause, too claustrophobic, so content out the box. No limits and no confines, not your regular show. No reaping, no Mordecai. What defines you? What defines your taste and style? Like connoisseurs, it go well with good taste and style. We'll keep you glued to your seat, we'll take you way above clouds like shooting stars and comments. We here to take your comments, full expression, entertainment, talking art. Vanguard, D'Angelo, the avant-garde tastemaker. BRTV paved the way for other stations, yo.